Yo, what's up Saiyans, and welcome back to Anime Space. We're bringing you a new theory video of One Piece theories, and this time it's gonna be about Enel. Enel was a Birkin and one of the three winged races that came from the moon that for some reason acquired the ability of Goro Goro no Mi. And he was apparently born in a sky island, and in which, after discovering the history of his ancestors, the Birkin, originating from the moon, which he refers to as the fairy Varth, decided to devise a plan to go to the moon and claim it his own. And note that he claims himself that he was born not in Birka but in fairy Varth, which he refers to the moon as a sky island. It appeared to me that he hated the Birkans because they are contented in living in the clouds when their real lineage lived in the moon. Enel gathered an army of Birkin warriors and destroyed his own hometown, and after which he also dethroned Gunfall and took over Skypiea. All for one goal: to build the Ark of Maxim and venture into the fairy Varth, or the moon, in which he traced his lineage came from. Once in the moon, he discovered the story of his ancestors, the Birkins, along with the Skypians and the Shandians, and the fourth race in which the Tenryubitos came from, inscribed in the carvings in the wall of the city that had been buried underneath the moon. We gotta ask ourselves a question: is Enel really a lifetime resident of Sky Island? I personally think that Oda is trying to throw us off a little here. First of all, we have seen almost every Sky Island inhabitants are innocent and doesn't know too much about the world below. So why would Enel know something about things like this in the blue seas? Also, who did Enel refer to when he said it took us months to find the central ruin? It could easily be the four priests he's commanding, but why did he said find instead of discover or stumble upon? And he specifically mentioned that the four priests are not aware of the ruins under the clouds. Was he specifically looking for the Shendora ruins? And why exactly would Enel know about an archaeologist? As far as I know, Konis and Pagaya never even knew about the real meaning of pirates, and they seem that they judged the word pirate based on what was taught to them by those who ruled over them, and Gunfall only knew it because he met Goldie Roger. What bothers me is why does Enel knows about non-existent Sky Island people like archaeologists, but he never knew what rubber was. Exactly like the innocent people of Skypiea. But unlike the Sky Islanders, it's mind-boggling to me why Enel know way too much about the history in the Blue Sea occupation, but he never knew such a trivial thing such as rubber. It's no wonder though that Gunfall and the other knew metallic things. It's because they collect things that was sent from blue seas by the Nakab stream. And from what we have seen from Sky Islanders who never knew the worth of gold, I can't put a finger on it, but I always thought there's something wrong with Enel. When you observe it, there are only two kinds of people in Skypiea, except the Shandians, the Sheeps, which are the innocent followers, and the ruler. And that ruler still doesn't know too much about blue seas, and their greatest desire mostly is just this chunk of soil they call Varth. Now, do you guys get what I'm trying to say? Yes, Enel was not born in Birka. Enel was born in Marijua. Enel was a Tenryubito that got Birkan lineage. I believe we can uncover Enel's history clearer if we do it using storytelling. Enel, I believe, was born as a Tenryubito in Marijua, and like almost all the people inside the Holy Kingdom, Enel grew up never really knowing the hardships of the outside world, and in effect, always saw himself higher than other people. Although adorned only with precious things and pampered all his life, Enel, like the flamingo, was one of the physically stronger people in their lineage, and it's no wonder when you got Birkin blood flowing in your veins. Also, it's no wonder why Enel never knew about rubber, because Tenryubito probably never seen a rubber their entire life as well. It's just Oda's way to throw us off into thinking that Enel was always in the sky. I mean, just look how dumb and conceited guys from Marijuas were. Well, that aside, after some time, Enel discovered about his Birkin lineage, in which for this reason he became Cypherpole member. Because we all know that Cypherpole is the intelligence agency of the world government. And I believe that Enel acquired the devil fruit he had now, the Goro no Mi, from the world government, specifically the Gorosei. This raises up a question, right? If Enel was a member of Cypherpol, shouldn't he show Rokushiki moves? And while I agree that Enel should have known Rokushiki moves, it can also be said for Kizaru. I think it's the best explanation if that's the case. And they both know that they got strong abilities. And moreover, we could change the prediction to Enel's not Cypherpol member but Tenryubito, who just set out to find his Birkin lineage along with some world government officers. And this theory will not change in any form. And I just threw in the Cypherpol connection because they are the intelligence agency of the world government. Along with his Cypherpol unit, Enel and his crew reached Skypiea without knowledge of Gunfall and discovered the ruins of Shandora. His team was the guys Enel referred to as us when he was talking to Nico Robbie. And I don't want to make a guess on what happened, but the other members of Cypherpol Enel was with all died. After that, Enel probably headed to Birka, which is just south of Skypiea, and tried to learn his lineage, in which I said earlier that I had destroyed the entire village when he learned that they originate from the moon, but they are contented settling in the clouds. And Enel spared the guys who wanted to go to Fairy Varth, which in turn became the priests and militia. Just how he did in Skypiea. And it's not hard to tell Captain McKinley that he was born in Birka, in which in his mind is the moon, and McKinley instantly believed in it because McKinley, like all the Skypian people, are ships. So the rest was history. Enel took over Gunfall's god and started taking the gold from the ruins of Shandora to build Maxim. He never really wanted the Varth, he was after the gold in the ruins, reasons why he took monopoly on Upper Yard and only gave certain areas to the priests. So what's the point of this Enel story theory? This ties on how Enel would go back to the Blue Sea. Enel, after spending enough time on the moon, would ultimately return to the Blue Sea because of one thing. After inspecting and finally figuring out the meaning behind the carvings in the moon, he would realize that the moon people gone down from the moon to Blue Seas and lived there. So, in his mind, who obviously is a megalomaniac from the start, he should also reign over the Blue Seas, and Enel would come back down to the Blue Sea and into Marijua along with Captain Spacey and the Automatas. Of course, the Gorosei, knowing about Enel's abilities and ill knowledge about the Void history, will give him privilege and right to reside in Marijua, in which they can control him. And Enel wouldn't try to hurt the Tenryubito because in a sense he just came home. I have to say that Enel's would return around the same time after the Shichibukai gets dissolved, so he would be like an official Shichibukai, meaning an outside force that's not a marine but will be on world government's side on the final war. Be specific, there are 5 outside forces that would still be on the world government side in the final war. Number 1, Bartolomeo Kuma, a former Shichibukai who by that time would be a full-blown pacifista. Don Quixote do Flamingo, a former Shichibukai and Tenryubito who is still allowed to stay at Marijua because of him working under the world government and him knowing the secret of the world government. Number 3, Dracul Miouk, a former Shichibukai and a current Tenryubito. However, he wouldn't be at the final war at Marijua but instead fighting alongside Chunks against Blackbird. Number 4, Star Clown Buggy, a former Shichibukai and the leader of Pirate Dispatch crew. He is world government's side just to have the protection while he is looking for treasures. And finally, Enel, a Tenryubito who was allowed to stay at Marijua because of his lineage. So that's all for now, Saiyans. This is a little theory that I found online and I mixed in some of my thoughts, then it got like this. So hope you enjoyed the theory, and if so, please like, subscribe, comment to officially join the Team Saiyans and not miss any of my upcoming content. Sayonara!